you're like me and you, when I first started, and I would spend all my deal money, and I found myself starting over and over and over and over and over again until I just got sick of that, and then I made a change for the better. But that's what we're all about, helping you. This is a live Q&A today. We got a really good crowd here in the Zoom room. If you want to join in the Zoom room, guys, you're out there in the world watching us on some platform. First of all, thank you. Please don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button, and keep up to date with our content. Now, somebody told me the other day, they said, we have a hard time keeping up with your content. You make so much. And, that's absolutely true. I do. I make a lot of content. You're not supposed to keep up. So if you don't keep up, that's okay. But I do appreciate you guys watching out there. Thank you for taking time this morning. If you're West Coast, for crying out loud, it's like 8 a.m. So it's a sacrifice on a Saturday to get up and, meet with me over here in the Zoom room. By the way, if you want to join in, www.zoomjustin.com. All right, www.zoomjustin.com. All right, let's just jump right in, guys. Live Q&A. Welcome, everybody. We have a good-sized group here. Everybody's shy this morning, has their cameras off, except for Ken Man. He was there and now he's gone, having audio connection problems. So let's just start out with the first question. Who's got a good question for me? If I know the answer, I'd be more than happy to help you guys. Anything.
Okay. Hey, Justin, this is Jim.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, I just wanted to check with you. I remember you had, on one of the other calls, you had shown us the technique of writing the letter on a piece of paper and then ultimately copying that onto yellow paper and sending that out into nice little invitation envelopes, or at least that's what I was doing anyway.
Yeah.
What was the data source, or what would you recommend to be the data source for that now? I kind of, it was a while ago since I did that. It was a while ago since I did that, the mailing, and I did actually get a good response from it. But I'm wondering, with today's climate, what is the best way to use that?
Yeah, great question, Jim. Yeah, what you're referring to is really traditionally known as yellow letters, right? I mean, it's been around for probably a decade and a half, maybe more. I didn't invent the idea. I have tweaked the idea a little. Of course, everybody that uses it would probably. So yeah, in a nutshell, just what you described. I'll take a white sheet of paper. Let me see. I've got some, just some white computer paper. And what I'll do is I'll write down on this with a black pen. Okay. And so make sure it's not red or blue. Okay. It needs to be black. And if you write down here with a black pen, all right, you can take this and put it inside of a copy machine where you raise the lid and sit it in here like this. All right. Well, once you have that in there ready to go, you want to fill your printer, your copier, with yellow notebook paper, not the white computer paper like that. So you're going to copy onto yellow notebook paper. And you can write a general note, like, for example, hi, my name is Justin. I saw your house on blah, blah. I'm interested in it. If you are interested in selling it, I'm interested in buying it. Okay. I don't know what that was, Debbie. Anyway, it will print off as many as you want to of a really nice yellow letter. Okay. With handwritten note in black. So black transfers well. That's why you use black, not red or blue. So now what you have in effect is, let's say, 100 yellow letters, right, that look handwritten. They all look handwritten because everybody assumes that copy machines use white paper. So they're not thinking that you printed this out. Okay. That's a quick way to make a bunch of those. And then you put it in an invitation style envelope. Now this takes a little work, guys. you might want to, you know, enlist your wife, uh, or you might want to enlist your kids. um, you know, you're going to be licking some envelopes and folding some paper. And I hate stuff, and personally, I hate stuff in invitation style envelopes because it's such a pain in the butt. All right. You can't just fold it 3 ways or twice and then put it in there. You have to fold it and then you have to fold it again to get it to fit in such a short envelope. So you'll be doing that, but put it in an invitation style envelope. And man, we got a great group in here, guys. Thanks for joining in. Once you do that, what I like to do is I like to take some kind of a different looking pen. Okay. You can even use crayon. Okay. If you got a crayon that you can write where it's legible, okay, it needs to be readable by the post office. But if you can write it with crayon, that's even the best, because when it arrives at a home, how many of those do you think are going to be opened? Right, like a bunch.
Most
okay,
of them.
Yeah, most of them, if not every one of them. You know, if I get an invitation size thing and it's printed like with a computer, the address and stuff, I'd throw that away immediately. Okay, pretty much, because I know it's like an invitation to join Comcast, and I don't want cable. Okay, I'm kind of a Roku kind of guy, you know. So yeah, if it comes with crayon, though, you're thinking, oh, this is my little niece, or this is my grandchild, or this is something special, different. There's something different about this. Okay, so most of them are going to be open. Now the question was, with all that, let me get to the question. What list do I like to send that to? And the answer to that is real simple. I love to send yellow letters like that. Okay. And we do them, if we're going to do them, okay, we do them in house, because I don't know that you can order them to be done by crayon. Okay. But I will definitely send those to the expired listings. That's my favorite right off the bat. Yep. So, especially if I'm looking for lease options, but ultimately, you know, you could use this technique for really any list that you want to get attention from. It's just a great way to grab people's attention. All right. Yeah, we got a great group in here, guys. I wish out there in the world it showed all the people here, even if they had their camera off, because it shows a little block with the name. Man, it's you guys are awesome this morning. Thank you for being here. I hope that answers your question, Jim.
Yeah, it does. Are you getting the failed listings from PropStream, or are you getting those from Automated REI? Doesn't do failed listings, does it?
Theautomatedrei.com will do failed or expired listings for you. Yes. However, you can also get them from PropStream. If you have a PropStream account, you can download it right there from PropStream and get your failed listings or expired listings, and even choose and pick your filters if you want to go deeper than that. The other way to do it, guys, and I was sharing this with someone else the other day, and I have done this before I had PropStream and before the automatedrei.com even existed. And this is a tougher way to do it. In my opinion, I'd rather spend the money to get a program like that, or to download the list like that. But you can make a buddy out of a realtor in the area, like your local market area. This would be maybe tougher in another virtual market, but you can definitely make a friend out of a realtor in your market area and have them, if you can sweet talk them into it, you know, get them some lunch or buy them a coffee every day for 5 days, or, you know, give them a gift card or to Starbucks, something, you know, if you can get their attention and get them willing to play with you a little bit on this, they will give you the expired listings for their area right off the MLS. Okay. And I don't know if they're supposed to do that or allowed to do that, but I've had them do it for me. Okay. But word of caution, you'll have to take care of these people or they won't keep doing it for you. Okay. their incentive will be that if you are in there doing what you're doing, whatever you're doing, and chances are they don't really understand what you're doing. If you're doing, what we're doing, because they're realtors, they do a different thing. Okay. If that's the case, they're probably not going to understand what you're up to, but they're going to share those with you in the hopes that when you come into contact with one of these homeowners, that one of them will say, hey, I just want to list my house, and that you'll refer that person back to the realtor that gave you those expired listings, kind of a referral system. And that's what you can promise them when you're asking them to give you those listings. But, I like to also give them something else, like, a little gift card, or take them to lunch, or something that's a little more touchy feely. Because you might not have a lot of conversations with those homeowners about them wanting to list their house. And so you're never going to be taking that lady a referral much. Honestly, I didn't. And then, next thing you know, it doesn't become incentivized for them. And then they're out. And now you're looking for a new way to get expired listings. Expired listings, you should be mailing them. If you're doing this technique, you should be mailing them at least once a month. At least. I like to get the PropStream set up where it tells me each and every day an expired listing is available in my market area, and it notifies me, notifications. And then you can put some kind of marketing piece together for them like that on a day-to-day basis, and it will only be, a handful at best each time you do it. So it won't take forever. But again, that's something you have to kind of get into a rhythm with. I know I overkilled that topic, man. Sorry, but that's a great question.
Can I give you a follow-up question on that?
Oh yeah.
And a comment too. I remember when I did that mailing, I actually only mailed out to 15 people. And
yeah.
Then when I started getting them back, I started getting some of the mail that I had sent out back, undeliverable, as addressed, et cetera, et cetera. I discovered that and I'm pretty sure that I got the leads from PropStream, but 5 of those properties had already been sold when I looked them up on Zillow, and PropStream was not maybe updating it as quickly as so I probably should have checked out each one of those before I spent, almost $1 or so to send them letters out, but probably should have checked them up on Zillow to see if they had been sold yet.
Okay. Well, there's a gold tip for you, everybody. PropStream's data might not be as whippy as you want it to be on this. That's true.
But on the other hand, I did end up getting, I got 3 responses. So out of the 10 that were even possible that I could have gotten something back, I got 3 letters back, or 3 phone calls back from sending out 15 letters, which took me, maybe a half an hour.
Yeah, I was going to guess that. I was going to say, I bet at least 2 or 3 of them called you.
Yeah.
That's how it works. And, then you're just off to the races with having a conversation with them to qualify them or disqualify them, just like any other lead,
Right.
But the technique is absolutely effective. Okay. It will bring people ringing your phone every time you do it. The data that you get from a realtor, though, right on. Okay. Because they're pulling it right off the MLS. The realtor's information, when they got that homeowner's information and all the information about that property too. And that's all in the records in there in the MLS somewhere. And so, yeah, that's a good way to get the data if you don't like PropStream. But again, you got to relationship build a little, that's, some of us don't like to relationship build. If you're like me, you're kind of an introvert, and I only want to, talk to who I have to talk to, right? Y'all know that ain't me.
Yep.
All right. Great questions, Jim. Appreciate that. Anybody else, or anything else from Jim or anybody else?
Hey, Justin, I have a question.
Okay, Rocky, what's up? Good to see you.
Okay, good to see you. Say, we have a tenant buyer and we're talking with a seller, in this market, say the person's out of work, they got laid off from their company, and we're not sure if they're going to be getting their job back, right? How would you go ahead and like do deals with people that may or may not be like, where I can't like say to a seller, hey, you know, they were good before, but now, you know, they're not working or whatever. How do you deal with that situation?
So we're hypothetically talking about a tenant buyer that I had put in the property before the lockdown.
No, that I'm actually like screening them right now.
Oh, okay. Well, they would still need to be able to provide, you know, proof that they're making 3 times the amount in income of what the payment would be as a minimum. You know, so I mean, if they'd lost their job during the coronavirus thing, and I'm trying to pre-screen them right now, they will likely be disqualified if they're unemployed. I mean, that's just, you know, it'd be nuts to rent a place to somebody that ain't got a job. You know, and honestly, they should not be thinking about moving at this time anyway. They should be thinking about getting new work. And I don't know if that's a tip for anybody out there, but you know, if you're kind of waiting around on your old job to come back, maybe that might not be the best thing to do. I don't know. It's a personal thing, I guess, but I would not rent a house to someone that doesn't have a job or income. Or even if it was like, hey, you know, I'm laid off for right now, and my job will start again. 100% sure it will start again. I'd say, okay, well, you know, how much money are we talking about you having down? And, you know, maybe there would be some arrangement I could make, but likely they would also be disqualified because we don't know when the lockdown will end. We don't know when their job will come back. So, you know, we're really just going to do the right thing here and try to find a solid tenant for the property. If that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said they should have 3.5 times the amount of the rent as their income. Does that include like the wife too, or just them? Like a family income of 3.5 times?
Yeah, that's a great question, Rocky. When you're qualifying a tenant buyer, you're going to want to make sure that if it's a man and wife, that they together household income have at least 3 times in income monthly what that house payment is or what their payment is. Okay, because if they don't, you know, if the house payment is 50% of what that household income is, you know, you're sunk, because the first little speed bump, they're going to be missing that payment. So, or they're going to be short on it. Now, I do count it as household income. So it would be husband and wife, or it would be, you know, husband and husband, or wife and wife, or whatever combination it is, you know. And yeah, unless, you know, unless they're just really upfront with me and they're like, hey, you know, we're just dating right now, and, you know, this is nothing serious. We're both going to live there, but, you know, it's mostly going to be my place. Okay, well then that's a different story. Okay, so, and you will run into some strange things like that from time to time. And I say strange, but I mean, you know, when I say strange, I mean different than what you might expect going in.
You know, and at this time, is it better to make sandwiches, or is it better just to make a quick money on the front and just walk?
Yeah, great question. Well, deal to deal, okay? And it also has a bit to do with your personal stability. And the reason I say that is sandwiches are more risky, okay? There's no risk really in a wholesale or assignment lease option. But when you step into the world of sandwiches, where you're going to stay in the middle, and that tenant buyer is going to put money down in your pocket, and then they're going to make a payment monthly to you, and then you're going to pay your portion of that to the seller. And that's what makes it a sandwich, is you're staying in the middle. And usually you'll do this because the deal has a nice monthly cash flow for you. You're giving the seller a whole lot less than what you can get from your tenant buyer. Also, you're doing this because you were able to contract the property for $100,000 with the seller, but it's really worth 130. Okay. He was that motivated. He just wanted to walk away. All right. You can definitely hang on to it as a sandwich then to collect whatever equity may be in the deal. Okay. And that was just some example numbers, but you understand when you contract it way less than what you can do the deal for with a tenant buyer, what it will appraise for the tenant buyer later, then yeah, you might sandwich it for that. But there is more risk. And the risk is that you will have a tenant buyer do you dirty. Okay. And when they do you dirty and you're in the middle, you have to do well by the seller in spite of it. Okay. Here's exactly an example. And I've gone through this where the tenant buyer just all of a sudden been a great tenant. And then the first of the month comes, you normally see a check in the mailbox from them on the second or third. The third comes, nothing, the fourth, fifth. I send out a letter to them on the fifth. Yes, I do. Okay. I send out a letter to them on the fifth. All right. Because see, when you property manage these things, you got to be on top of this stuff. I don't hear anything from them on the 10th. I send them another notice. Okay. This one's a notice. It's not just a letter. Okay. So on the 10th, they get a notice that they need to pay or prepare to move. Okay. Now, I've had that go by. And next thing you know, guess what? My payment was still due. My payment was still due to the seller. So I still had to make that payment. Ouch. Unless, one, you're financially stable, you have some income coming in, and you got a little safety net, and you can hit a payment or two if you need to. Okay. Or when that tenant buyer puts down 6, 7, 8, 10 grand, you're smart and you take about half of that and you put it in the hole somewhere. You hide it under your mattress. And then if that happens, you've got your safety net. Okay. And then no hiccups, no problems with the seller. Okay. That way you can hang on to the deal and not lose the deal and piss the seller off, frankly, and get all the way to the end and cash out that equity. So you have to play smart, a little bit of a long game, but it's a little more risky, guys. So you tell me, is it a good time to do sandwich lease options? Well, in the economy, yeah, absolutely. But personally, it's kind of a personal thing. Like when you're ready, I recommend people do 5, 6 wholesale lease options, get that safety net built up a little bit. You know, when I say a safety net, I mean a few $1,000s in the bank that you're not using, that you forget about if you're, living your life. It just sits there. Okay. Or if you're really good at budgeting the money, when the tenant buyer puts money down, yeah. Okay. But if you're not, then don't do sandwiches because they will burn you. Okay. Don't do it. Was that all negative sounding? I love sandwiches. I'm just saying you have to be careful. Do it when you're ready.
Oh, thanks.
Hey, Elise, how are you? Anybody got a question?
Hey.
Next question. Anybody?
Just to go back to the thing that we were talking about before, I just wanted to ask you, when you were using the failed MLS listings, are you using PropStream or are you using automated REI?
Well, automated REI, okay, is a better option, in my opinion.
Okay.
I like to use the realtor data as well. Just honestly, it's the coolest, best data if you can get a realtor to give it to you, and they can email it to you. Nowadays, I remember back in the day, they would just they'd print it off and hand it to you, and that was kind of more work, I think. But yeah, I don't think it really matters much where you get the data, but I'm using automated REI because it's more affordable. And if I need to skip trace these people at a tier 3 level, I trust the data is good.
Okay.
They're not perfect though, because the data is not perfect. I mean, no matter who's getting the data, they're like automated REI doesn't create the data. Okay. I mean, PropStream doesn't create the data. They're all buying the data.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of like the same pretty much a lot of places. You're going to have problems with it. everywhere. There's going to be bunk returns. I even get bunk returns on realtor stuff sometimes. It's good though. It's good data. And I don't care about that too much because I know if I send out, 80, 90, 100 letters, I'm probably going to have 15, 16 people call me. Okay. That's not a bad deal, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how many times my phone rings. So I don't know. Did I answer your question or did I just walk all around it, man?
No, that's good. Hey, has automated REI fixed their little glitch with the with Zillow?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was down for a day or two. Zillow has changed their algorithm. I almost called it an algorithm. Yeah, they changed their algorithm up a little bit, and it threw automated REI into a tailspin for a couple days. But they got it all worked out. Smart dudes over there. There's a lot of brain power over there, so they got that worked out. And then there was some problems with the texting side too, and they got that worked out. So everything's back and going great. Yep, there's your update on that.
One thing I had suggested to them a while back was to be able to call them, call your prospects using the same phone number that they would have texted to. Is that something that they have modified or made a change to?
To make no,
Okay.
I don't think so. Yeah, that's a thing that they're going to need to add eventually at some point. I think they're probably working on it already, or at least they're aware of it. And there's some other little tweaks like that will make the machine a lot better too. Can't beat the price though. That's what I say. Can't beat the price. There's probably other places that have all the bells and whistles, but the one I'm aware of, I would have to pay $197 a month to be a part of. And I don't like that. I'm cheap, man. I'm a bit of a tight ass. Okay. We got 18 people in this Zoom room. Anybody? I know there's got to be 18 people.
I got a question.
You got a question? What's going on, Mr.
Yes.
Michael Goolsby? I love Michael Goolsby. He's a cool dude. What's happening, man?
Not much. Hopefully I didn't miss it, but when you do the expired listing, you scrape, and then do you send out a text blast or you just try to call everyone back? What is the message you send out if you do a text blast?
Yeah. He was not talking about text blasting these. He was talking about doing a yellow letter campaign from in office with some variations to it. And that's real effective, but not to go back and redo that. Yes, the answer to your question is we oftentimes will skip trace these things and send out some kind of message to them over the text. Either that's the TCPA compliant stuff one by one, or we'll do maybe a small blast. But the message that I send out, very simple. Hi, my name is Justin. I saw your property was for sale and now it's not. Is there a possibility you still want to sell? I'm interested in buying. Call me. My number. That's it.
Great. Okay. All right.
Yeah. You could see how that would be interesting, wouldn't it? If
Yes,
you got
sir.
that letter and you opened it up and you were like, this guy saw it was on the MLS. He's right. I did have it on the MLS and now it's not. And he says he's interested in buying. If I'm interested in selling, yeah. This time without a realtor fee. Yeah. But you're looking for the low-hanging fruit too. So not all of them are going to be the one you're looking for. Okay. But it is a great way to get the phone ringing with people interested in selling. You still have to know how to talk to them though. And you still have to know how to put it together. And you guys are all coming up in that. Coming up. I love role playing with you guys. It juices me. It gets me juiced. Like sometimes I'm so tired, like of being on the phone because like I run my own business too, right? And then I have students too that I'm coaching throughout the day. And it's just like, I'm so tired of the phone. But then I get on the phone with a loose and she wants to role play. And it's like, I just get juiced. I get fired up. And next thing I know, we've gone over our coaching time for like 15 minutes. And it's like, wow, I was just having fun, man. I was just really having fun talking about this. So anyway, yeah, somebody asked a question here in the chat. Any place doing scrapes? Well, okay, yep. That's true, Debbie. No place is perfect. Okay, Steven says, hi, Justin. Do you use a CRM to keep track of your leads? Yes, I do. I very much so do. And I'll show it to you if you want. Just give me a minute and I'll pull it up here, guys. I don't use an expensive CRM, and the reason I don't is because it just doesn't fit me. Okay. I think a lot of times we kind of have this, I guess, I don't know what I would call it, but it's almost like a fashion bug, like it bites us, like we have to have, like me, like I had to have a pair of Under Armour tennis shoes. Okay.
Where's Zuri?
I'm sorry if you were talking to me. I didn't know.
Watch her.
Oh, sorry. Okay. What was I saying? You threw me off. The fashion bug. We think we got to have the coolest, nicest, most brand name bells and whistles and stuff, or we don't feel official. Like we're not really in the business unless we've got the cool stuff. I got over that in time because believe me, there's always going to be another shiny object that's just a little bit cooler than that one. And you're going to have to change and buy and spend more and blah, blah, blah. So I don't like doing all the fancy bells and whistles and stuff anymore, because once you get going and you start doing some deals to change systems, it's a bitch. Okay. You do not want to change systems. It's not fun. Okay. Get it settled in. So get it out of your mind, guys, that you have to have the Freedom Soft or the Podio or the whatever. Okay. You don't have to have all of that. It's not necessary at all. I use Trello.com, which you can see right here is a board. Okay. That we use very similar to this. This is the copy, but this is an example board. So it doesn't have current information on it, but that's for everyone's benefit, really. But AQ team board here, you can see I've got several lists, and what it allows me to do is create these little cards. If I want to add one, I can type something in here and I can add it. I can also go in and tweak it. I can add a color bar to it. I can do whatever I want to it. It's pretty simple. If I don't like that on that, I can move it there. See, so I can do whatever I want with any of these ideas that I have. Very flexible board. If I don't like it, I can come down here. I can archive it. I can attach files to it. I can attach videos to it. So you can see over here, I have a property deal example card, but here in deal slot number 1, see, I created this. I can even move these around. Deal slot number 1, we have a lead here that's been closed by a team member. All right, there it is. And you can see it's got all the information in it, blah, blah. Deal 2, deal 3, deal 4, deal 5, deal 6, deal 7. Okay, so each deal has its own section, right, where we can keep track of things. We can add files to them. We can do whatever we want to do to that. All right. Does that make sense? Now that's called Trello.com, Trello.com. It's free, y'all. What? Yeah, it's free. I told you I'm kind of a tight ass. I'm kind of cheap, right? I don't like to spend a whole lot of money on stuff that ain't making money. And CRMs don't make money, right? Yeah, somebody said you just threw me and my Freedom Soft under the bus. That's funny. Well, if you like it, man, that's all that matters. If you like it, I had it for a while. Like I said, man, it's like running fingernails down a chalkboard for me to see that I'm paying what I was paying for it, because I wanted it all. I wanted the whole thing. And I was like, nah, I'm just going to get simple with it. Get real simple with it. So also Trello is an app. It's so you can put it on your phone and it works the same way. In fact, I find the phone app to be even more user friendly than the desktop app, which you were just looking at, the desktop app. But it's like basically identical. So yeah, pretty cool toy, and it's free. I have several boards in my life. What we were looking at right there is called a board. Uh, has lists, and then inside those lists are cards. Okay, and you saw me moving the lists and the cards around on that board. And so I have several boards. I have a goal board. I have a personal board. I have like an acquisitions board. I have another board that's just for my bank owned team that does bank owned wholesaling. I have another board for other projects that I work on. So, it's just kind of also a way for me to organize my life. But you can definitely keep those leads there, um, real safe and secure. Access them mobilely, access them online from your desktop too, or an iPad or something like that. You can also set up notifications on those where, let's say you want to call that person back in 2 weeks, put the date there and it'll notify you on that day that you should call this person back. I mean, it's free. You can't beat that, y'all. You can't beat that with a big stick. I'm
Hey,
just playing.
Justin,
Yeah, what's up,
I'm
Luce?
sorry. I have a question. How do you keep track of the work that your VA is doing? For example, if you give them, um, if you need them to take care of something, how do you know they are doing what you ask them to do? How do you keep track of the time that they're putting in the
Yeah.
work that's being done?
Yeah, that's a great question. And there's a couple different ways you could go about this. And one is if you find your virtual assistant on Upwork, for example, you can actually use Upwork system, and Upwork will let them clock in and clock out, that kind of thing. And also will let you know all that information, and we'll kind of keep a tally for you, like a regular employee would have maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one method. Once once I found my virtual assistant there, okay, which is what I did. I've done it a couple different ways, and I'll share both. That's
Okay.
one way where I went to Upwork and I just used their system.
Okay.
Once I got to know that guy and we worked for a while, I eventually just trusted him kind of. And we were in a good rhythm with what needed to be done, and it was happening on a regular basis. So I felt okay about it, and I brought him off that system and then just started paying him kind of on the side, which was better for him anyway, because better for me too, because we didn't have to pay Upwork. So we just kind
Oh,
of, but we used Upwork for a while. So even if you find a virtual assistant that's not from Upwork, you found them some other place, it's possible, if you really want to put them on that kind of a real tight system like that, to have them go onto Upwork and you can just hire them there and use their system. So it's possible to do that. Now, that's probably not the best way to do it.
wow.
What I have found though is that it's best for me if I have a set time every morning that I'm supposed to contact or be contacted by that virtual assistant. Okay, we're going to have a little
Mm-hmm.
quick 5-minute meeting. And then at the end of the day, we also have a quick little touch base. And I will check what they
Oh,
were supposed to do. Okay.
okay.
Um, if you're not inspecting what you expect, okay, you're not going to have a lot of success. Now,
Okay.
it's kind of like being a teacher
Mm-hmm.
at school. If you start out real loose with this and you're not starting the morning session, or they're not contacting you before they begin, and they're not contacting you when they finish, and they're not sending
Yeah,
you an email with all that they have accomplished that day,
correct.
if they're not doing that and you're kind of lax on it, it's going to be hard to tighten the screws later. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So like a school teacher on the first day of school is just hardcore, right?
Mm-hmm,
Remember when we were
mm-hmm.
growing up, that was kind of how it was, right? And then throughout, by the time the second semester came along, they were kind of like, almost like they were friendly, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But the first day of school, first week of school, it was hardcore. And I remember being that way, at least for me. And so you kind of have to be that way with your virtual assistants.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I want you to think of it like a game though. Okay? Because it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to run your business and have other people that work for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I don't know. I like to mess with my virtual assistants a little bit. Okay. Because I'm not so sure what their perception of American businessmen is. So I like to create my own idea for them. Like, what I mean is I'll have a relationship with my virtual assistants where I've painted this picture where I'm just real big shit, y'all. I'm an American over here, and I'm rich and everything, and like like I don't care about nothing in the world, and it's like it's kind of fun, but y'all don't have to do that. But that's my way of going hard. See, I go hard on them at first, and then later I'll kind of let the guard down and be a little bit more, flexible, I guess, and not
Mm-hmm.
inspecting every little thing. But for a little while, you need to ride that.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
hope
because
that
that's
helps, Aluz.
no, it really does because that just I've just been feeling that way, and I try not to come off as uh the B word, but I'm aggressive when I need things done. I'm a bit aggressive, so I'm trying not to be that way, but also don't want to get played. You get
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Well, you will get played if you don't play it like I said, basically.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
but yeah,
yeah. I've
that
been
has.
played, and I can only say this with such confidence because I've done it, and I've done it more than once.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, and
yeah,
it's not fun.
yeah.
It's better to be all about business with these guys
Correct, correct, correct. Okay.
because
I don't feel bad after just you explaining that. I don't feel bad about the way
yeah.
I've been approaching it, so.
Let me tell you how these VAs work. You want to
Hmm.
understand the VA scam? Does anybody want to hear what the VA scam is? How they
Yes.
scam you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, this is how they take you. All right. They hire you on, or you hire them on for $3 an hour. And you're thinking, oh wow, this is incredible. Yeah, it is incredible. And they're willing to do it. So for the first day or two, they show up and they're just absolutely, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, anything
Hmm.
we can do, we're right on it. And hallelujah to your excellence. I will do all work forever until you approve. Okay, great, wonderful. I love your attitude. Then you get real lax with it because you bought into it. Okay. You get a little lax with it. You forget to have the morning check in. You forget to have them email you what they did today. You forget to have the evening check out. Okay. You forget all that. Or even if it's like 2 hours, check in, check out. Let me know when you start. Let me know when you finish. Send me an email with what happened. Okay. Or whatever you're doing. Um, yeah, so you get a little lax with that. Next thing things are slipping a little. You call them up, you talk to them. Oh, I'll do better. Sorry, boss. I'll be on it tomorrow morning. Very hardcore. Excellent, sir. No problem. You get to realizing though, and here's what it is. You get to realizing that this guy is full of shit, right? Okay, because he's got you for $3 an hour. And at the same time, those same hours, he's got 7 other people giving him $3 an hour. And yes, he's doing yours half-assed because at the same time, he's trying to get 6 others is done also half-assed. Okay. Does that make sense where I'm coming from? So
It does.
you are just a small piece of his pie for those 2 hours.
Wow.
Don't let that happen to you. Okay. You need to be very aware of that when you go in to hire a virtual assistant. Now, hey, Mr. Virtual Assistant, you know, I need you to work for me every day between 10 a.m. and 12 noon, my time. Okay, great. You can do that. Wonderful. Real quick, are you going to be working for anyone else during that time period or just me? Okay. They're not going to volunteer that info, dude. So what do you have to do with a virtual assistant that scammed you that way? You have to fire them
Mm-hmm.
and find another one, because there's no way that you're going to talk him out of those other $3 an hour that he's collecting in that same time period just to work on yours. You ain't gonna nobility close him. You ain't gonna guilt trip him. He got you. All right. Sorry. Like I'm just all like in this negative shit today. Like
No, thanks for the honesty. I do appreciate it because you don't hear a lot of people talk about the realness about hiring a
oh
VA.
yeah.
They don't talk about that stuff. They just say hire them
Yeah.
and they're not real. So I appreciate it.
Well, it's not that they're not real. They're real. They're just real busy. Like they're working you and everybody else all at the same time. And like, can you imagine here $3 times 7 clients all in the same hour? That's $21 an hour. Over here, that's pretty good. Like, yeah, that's not bad if you're going hourly wage, even in the United States. But over there, you are a pimp daddy. I had a VA. His name was Moran Muhammad something. I don't know. I swear that guy was doing that very thing to me. That very thing. And I figured it out finally, why he would never more than just short spurts take care of me very good. And then I somehow became friends with him on social media. Probably another mistake. And I'm looking at this guy driving nicer cars than me. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why he wasn't doing a very good job for me, because he had as many dumb people like me he could squeeze into an hour. He sent an email. He's off to the next one. No. You call him up. Hey, why didn't this get done? Oh, sorry, I had to pray 5 times a day. Okay, great. I didn't know that was going to happen at 10 o'clock in the morning every day. Why didn't you tell me that? Just this month. Oh, okay. How do you argue with that? See, they got you, man. They're playing you. You're in the loop. Just fire his ass and get on with the next one. Okay, that's the rub. Sorry, guys.
Hey, Justin.
Yeah.
If you have them making calls for you, like, do you like record their calls or use like call rail or?
Yeah, Vumber, VUMBER, Vumber.com is what I use, and it will allow me to record their phone calls, and it'll also allow me to track how many dials they made, and it'll also allow me to track any follow-up calls that returned to them and what those messages are. Yes, check that out. There's probably some other apps that are better even now. Remember, I said I don't like to switch things once I fall into something that I get in a rhythm with. Probably some better things out there now, but Vumber.com, great way to do it. I wish some of my one-on-one students would figure out that and start recording themselves when they're talking to homeowners, so that I could listen in to some of the real deal Holyfield conversations you guys are doing. Do I have a phone power dialer for myself and your VA? No, I don't like them. Not to say they're not good. They are very cool, and they're way better than they used to be. Even Mojo Dialer, for example, Call Fire, for example, is the one I'm familiar with. Call Fire. Okay. Um, yeah, very cool tools. I know there's some students of mine that are using that, and that's great. No problem with that whatsoever. Personally, I just don't like them. Personally, it's too fast for me. That's it. All right. That was a question in the chat. Manny wants me to help him lock up his first deal. I'd be happy to do that, Manny. Let me see if there's any chat over here in Facebook. Anybody else in the Zoom room have a question right now?
I do, again.
Okay, James.
Okay, so Greg and I have had a contract on a property since February 20th.
Okay.
Before the coronavirus was hitting South Carolina.
Okay.
And she needed about a month or so to be able to move out of the house. So I decided I would extend the contract till like March 31st. Okay, so around March 15th, the county offices shut down. So nobody could get in there to get a title search done. So we just kept waiting and waiting and waiting for a title search to come back. But, just finally got one last week. But the woman that was selling us the house, she just sent me a text a couple nights ago saying that she's decided that she's going to stay in the house. Now the contract did expire March 31st. And I've already spoken with 3 attorneys about it. They believe that because the coronavirus shut down the county offices and can't get a marketable title, or even know if you have a marketable title until you can go to the Register of Deeds. The attorneys believe that there's a good chance that I could prevail if I take her to court or try to deal with the situation. But I just when I spoke with the attorney yesterday, he said that this is starting to happen pretty frequently for him. He'll have a seller who's ready to sell, but then at the last minute, the buyer loses his job, or buyer loses his ability to finance the property. And then next thing you know, the seller, who was going to be buying an RV or buying another house somewhere else, now they can't buy sorry, now they can't buy that other house. So basically a few different closings get killed there.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you what you think in terms of the COVID virus. Is this the best time to be maybe looking at lease options, or are we a little bit too early to be looking at lease options? I'm just trying to figure out the timing on this, because
I can tell you what I'm doing. I have shifted focus like 90% towards the creative options business. Okay. In lease options and things of that nature. Okay. So, primarily lease options. All right. So instead of the ugly house, so like 90% lease options and 10% ugly house. So really, I'm not really looking for ugly houses right now. And the reason why is because of what you just described there. It's just kind of hard to do one, harder than normal. And a lot of the fix and flipper buyers are kind of sitting on the sidelines, watching the world go by. Maybe because they can't get lending, maybe because they're afraid they will fix up a property and then the end buyer, the retail buyer, after they fix the place, put it on the MLS, that buyer might not be able to get the loan. And so they might get stuck with the property and they want to fix and flip it. Okay. So they're sitting it out. There are landlord buyers looking, watering at the mouth, guys, right? Just nasty, ready to buy though. Okay. So the ugly house business is not dead. It's just, not exactly what it was a while ago. Now, in that particular case of your reference, what could anyone do? Because if they can't do a title search or complete their title and offer title insurance, then, you can't close, right? So in that case, in that area, in that county, you're just sunk on the ugly house business for now. So your alternative is a great alternative, though. It is the pretty house business. because when the banks and the title companies and all that are not doing what they normally do, you still can do real estate through these creative means. And I find it an even easier close. Hey, Mr. Homeowner, I don't think I can give you cash today. Well, for a couple of reasons. One, I don't think I'd make money doing that. And number two, the Corona stuff out here has got everything shut down, and it's not really going to probably work. And you can even share your example and then say, but here's what I'd be willing to do. If you'd be willing to lease me that place for 24 months, I'll give you the price you're asking for. And that way, 24 months up the road, all this stuff will have settled down and everybody will be back to work for sure. And, some of the Democrats are talking 18 months on this stuff. Who knows? So give me 24 months and I'll give you the full price. But that way, it'll solve, hopefully, that'll solve your problem, Mr. Homeowner. And also will be a great problem solved for me. Does that sound like something we could talk about or maybe not? You see what I did? I used it to make the deal. So right. That's what I'm doing. I'm focusing on that right there, and I'm using that technique right there. Okay, and I'm going after it.
But okay, one thing that I'm trying to factor in though is prices right now, they're still kind of hot around here because there hasn't been that much time between when the coronavirus hit here and now. So I'm just wondering, I'm thinking that the prices, if the market does crash, it's certainly got to go down because there are going to be so many people out there without jobs that all of a sudden the supply and demand is not going to be there.
Yeah.
Well, the demand's going to be there, but not the ability, or there's going to be a very shallow pool of potential buyers out there. And the lenders are going to be looking at each prospect or each prospective buyer under a microscope to make sure that whatever job they have now today, they're going to have a week from now or a month from now or 6 months from now.
Yep. All good points. Yep. All good points. And, it's hard to say how everything will flush out. It really is. It's tough to say. But yeah, I think, I'm just working on the pretty house business, guys, because it's what I can do, I think I missed the gist of what you were saying though. Maybe.
Okay.
What can you recap it for me again, man?
Well, I'm trying to figure out the timing on this, because I see right now, let's say that I decide to focus all my energies into the pretty house business. So basically
the property value is going down. Is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah. So do I want to tell somebody today that, I can give you full price for your house, but we're going to have to wait 24 months until that happens.
Yeah.
If the price is going to crash now,
right.
I don't want to lock myself into a price that's going to be, considerably higher.
Yeah. So you might not want to do a sandwich lease option on a deal that you feel that way. Let's take an example though, out of 2008, when that crash happened. A lot of property values did tank, but there was a whole lot of property values that really stayed pretty steady. And in a lot of areas, they even, saw some appreciation still. So and they're not anticipating this to be as worse than that was. So I think for the most part, it won't be as bad as what we could imagine. However, you're right. In theory, let's say you contract that house today for 100,000 and you sell it off to your tenant buyer for 110. You take your 10,000 and you take your 10,000 in down payment or non-refundable option fee, and then 2 years from now, that property would only appraise for 87, okay, or 90.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing that you're not in the middle of that one, right? If you assigned it, then you're not involved. However, what I do tell the sellers nowadays, and it's almost always is coming up, all right, the question you're asking, like, how do we know what the property will be worth in 2 years? Well, we don't know, Mr. Homeowner. We assume that things will even out and that it will appreciate, with reason. However, we don't have a crystal ball. What would happen, however, though, is if you were to, see your property value go down to the 90,000 and we're doing a deal for 100 here. at that time, you're not going to be forced to sell it for the 90 because you're only agreeing to sell it for that 100. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to renegotiate at that time and figure out what we're going to do to make all parties winners, because you'll still want to sell and they'll still want to buy. So we'll either have to get an extension or we'll have to do something different, because things are changed. And now you'll want to explain to your tenant buyer the same thing and say, now, hey, listen, the risk involved here is that if the economy crashes, 9/11 happens again, and next thing you know, this property isn't worth what we thought it was going to be, that's kind of a risk that you're going to be taking here. But that's a risk that we're all taking. So, I mean, every one of us that lives in a house is taking that risk. So you guys decide what you want to do, but here's what the deal is. So, that's being transparent with your tenant buyer too. Okay. And here's what I find: people don't give a shit. Okay. Here's what I find: tenant buyers don't give a shit. Right. They want to do the deal anyway.
Right.
I'll tell you, man, the tenant buyers that I find, they are so hungry to get into a place of their own and so excited. It wouldn't hardly matter what you did. They're just ready to do it. They want it. And man, it's fun when they chase you like that. But yeah, that's the real truth of it, though. Those are the facts. That's how I see it, and that's what you should explain to these parties if you're doing this deal. But yes, lease options is what I'm doing, man.
Okay.
But James, you said that the seller changed their mind, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, you got a seller that changed their mind in an expired contract. I don't think there's an attorney that could really touch that. I mean, did your attorney actually say anything different that you could try to pull this back? I mean, especially with this time, I don't think we could really force anybody to sell right now.
Yeah,
But
I think, and her goal was to sell the house, take the money from that, buy an RV, and travel around the country. So with all the stay in place orders, obviously she can't really do that right now at all. She'd be lucky if she can get out of the end of her driveway without violating some sort of stay in place order. So, but they did. The attorneys that I spoke with said that the magistrate would likely be sympathetic to her, and we came up with a solution. She was concerned that we were going to throw her out of her house once she closed on it. Well, I've got a guy, the guy is actually that I'm assigning the contract to. He was willing to let her rent this place for $350 a month for up to a year. And the local rent is like $1,250 to $1,300 in that same area. She could have paid $350 a month and lived there for up to a year just because of the coronavirus situation. But she still decided to back out of the deal. So that's a nice little $10,000 assignment fee that I was really counting on that we're not going to get. So.
oh yeah, man. I mean, and that sounds like a hell of a deal for her too. So
Yeah.
this is crazy because it's snowballing in both directions. I have a few different deals that's in the works, and I'm extending one and extending the other, and yeah, it's some interesting educational times right now. That's for sure.
Yes, it is. And I have a contract. The contract that I used with her, I didn't really like that much, so I've revised the contract, basically making sure that there has to be a marketable title. I don't have the exact wording right now, but there has to be the availability of being able to get a marketable title and to be able to do a title search, and that the attorney has to have all the information that they need to be able to put together all the closing documents. And if that's not in place, then the contract could extend for 6 months or a year or whatever. So, but this contract expired on March 31st. So.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I feel you, man. Going through the same pains. Good luck with that though, for sure.
Thanks, Rick.
I tried to force a seller to sell one time with an attorney. I don't recommend it, guys. It's a tough game.
It just hurts everybody's feelings, man.
It's expensive too. Yeah. Last time I did that, it ended up costing me $3,500, which is way more than I thought it was going to be. Yeah. But then again, that attorney, huh?
especially right now.
Oh, right now, who knows, right? Yeah, who knows what would happen?
Yeah,
And it might.
I don't want to. I don't want to throw her out of the house. That's why we came up with the $350 a month for 12 months, which is ridiculous. But you know, she just decided she's not going to buy the RV and stay in the house, even though she sold just about everything in her house already.
Huh. I've got a question from Denise B. It says, when looking up numbers, do you look at the house per square foot and compare to others, or how do you look up your comps for a lease option? Yeah, it's a great question. You know, you can do it the same way that you do any other property. You know, you look up comparable sales. That's fine. By square foot, you want to make sure that it's comparable in square foot. You also want to make sure that it's comparable in beds and baths. Okay, like 3 beds, 2 baths compared to 3 beds, 2 baths. You also want to make sure, if you can, find the same style of house. Like, don't compare a ranch to a split level. Okay, if you can help it. All right. And you also want to try to go no further than really, I like to do 0.3 miles, but you need to make sure you go no more than 0.5 miles away. That's a half a mile. All right. And you need to make sure that the comparable is no older than about 6 to 8 months tops. Okay. I hope that helps. Those are the 2 things that you need to know on lease options: is the value today and what you think it might be worth in 2 years. And you can guesstimate that a little. And then you also need to know if the fair market rent is comparable for the neighborhood. You know, what the fair market rent for the neighborhood is what your payment will be for the homeowner. Those 2 things, very simple to analyze a lease option deal. Very simple. So don't sweat it, guys. That's why I think it's a great place for newbies to start too, doing lease options, because, well, one, it's kind of an easier concept. And then secondly, because, you know, of that very reason there, what I was just saying. So, yeah. All right, guys, we've been here for 70 minutes. Any other lightning round questions we got? Let's try to do another 5 minutes or so if we got any more questions, but then wrap up. But I don't want to miss anyone that has something burning. I got a burning question. You got a burning question? Nobody. 18 people here in the Zoom room. Love you guys. Every one of you. Love every one of you. Glad you're here. Good handful of folks out there watching on YouTube and Facebook. Love you guys too.
Yeah.
Rudolph
we
is giving.
Appreciate you, man.
Hey, thank you, Alous. Thank you, Alous. Thank you.
Hey, Justin, I have a last question.
Yeah.
Say, you know, how do you get them to do like send you a video of the property, since we're not actually going to see it? Like, do they like make a video for you? How do you like inspect the property to see, you know, if it's like torn up or not?
Yeah, good question. You can ask the homeowner to provide pictures, which I prefer still photos over video, because video is always crappy. Okay, even with today's phones and everything being like, you know, high definition cameras. Yeah, the problem is not the high definition aspect of it. It's not that it's grainy or anything. It's just that if I'm inside a house with a phone and I'm holding the camera, I'm not really getting a good view of the room. I'm kind of getting like moved and jostled and walked around, and I'm seeing walls and ceilings and floors and shit, and like, what am I looking at? Okay, I don't really like video. I like still photos because my eyes can focus on them. And so, yeah, you just ask the homeowner, hey, can you send me some photos of the property inside out? I'd like to have a picture of each room if you can, and the outside too. And here's the thing, they probably already have pictures on Craigslist. They probably already have pictures on Zillow. They probably have pictures wherever you found them. Okay. Are they current? You can ask the homeowner, are these current pictures? Yeah, they're current. You just took them when you made that listing. How long ago was that? Last week? Okay. Or they might say, no, those aren't current. I'll need to take some, you know, can you take some more for me that are current? Because I'd like to take a look at what it looks like. Now, you can also share those with your tenant buyers, make them part of your ad. Okay, great idea to do that. But all of that is very much so what you should be doing. Yeah, just getting that done there. Now, have I ever been lied to by a homeowner? Like he sent me pictures of it when it was real pretty, but now it looks like a devastated mess. Not like that bad, but I have had tenant buyers go in the first time to look at it and come out and tell me, ooh, that place smelled like dog poop and cat pee. Oh, I'm not doing it. Well, pictures don't tell you that. Okay. But I have had tenant buyers tell me that the first one I sent over there. Okay. Well, that's a problem. All right. The homeowner was ashamed of it. He doesn't want to say, oh, yeah, the house looks good, but it smells like cat pee. No, he's trying to sell something. Okay. He ain't going to tell you that. So, but your first tenant buyer that goes and looks, if you're doing this virtually, the first tenant buyer that goes and looks at it will tell you, and then then you got some decisions to make what you want to do. Do you want to try to tenant buyer, fill that house with a tenant buyer, even though it smells like cat pee? Absolutely. Absolutely. You do. There's some dudes out there that'll take that on. Just tell the homeowner, hey, is it cool if we rip that carpet out of there? And the guy that I put in there sands the floor down and fixes this up a little bit. And what can we do? Can we talk money now? Can we knock a little bit down because of some of this? Yeah, the best deals are made. They're not found. Okay. So you remember you're a creative real estate investor because you're good at solving problems that other people don't know how to solve. Just like that. Just like that. I hope that answers your question. Anybody else? Real quick, guys. Real quick. I love y'all.
Justin, one more thing I wanted to ask you. Can you really test the comps right now? Like if I were to find a property that I'm interested in buying, could you really trust the comps from 3 months, 6 months ago? Because obviously the market is going to turn down when all the people don't make their mortgage payments and there's going to be a lot more foreclosures. Is there any way of being able to calculate a realistic ARV right now?
Jim, you keep asking me for a crystal ball. I don't have one. I have a magic 8-ball. I don't think it has that many answers in it though. Yeah, I don't. Here's all I know, Jim, is that I've been told that there are still lenders lending retail buyers money. Now, I've also heard that they've raised the credit score limit where, people with subpar credit cannot get these loans right now. But people with good credit can get loans. I've also heard that they're moving to desk appraisals where they're not sending the appraiser to the property so that he can contract Corona night or whatever it is. So they're desk appraisals. He's just going to look up the comparables and he's going to do his research and he's going to decide what the value of the property is. What are they using? They are using comparables like they always have. Okay. So that's the best I can, how are the banks hedging their bet here, padding against the risk of depreciation? Yeah. Well, they know better than we do, but here's, because that's what they do for a living, right? They just got a whole room full of people thinking this shit up and probably a whole other room backing them up. It's it's just you and me, we're trying to figure it out. So, if they're continuing to do it that way, then I feel comfortable continuing to do it that way too, until I find out otherwise. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I do find out otherwise, I'll let y'all know. I hope that makes sense, guys. And I hope that calms your nerves a little bit, Jim. It's a trying time. It's strange, weird times for all of us, man. And we're all looking for a little bit of normalcy to come back into things. And hopefully sometime soon it will. But Mr. Homeowner, I would say most definitely within the next 24 months, it should. Wouldn't you agree? Oh yeah, well, I would think so. Blah, blah. Okay, well, great. So how about this? Could you rent the place to me for 24 months and then let me buy it? Okay, go and do likewise, guys.
Yeah.
All right, love you guys. We'll talk to y'all soon. See you in the VIP room.
Love you too. Have a blessed Easter, everybody.
All right.
You too.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.